Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a case that's as outrageous as it is disturbing. A former Minnesota State Senator, Justin Eichorn, is facing explosive allegations, accused of trying to solicit a minor. But instead of facing up to the charges like an ordinary citizen, he's now trying to play the victim card, claiming he's only being prosecuted because of his former job in politics. That's right, a man accused of attempted to exploit a child is saying he's the one being wronged because he used to wear a suit and worked in the Capitol. So, let's break it all down. Let's start with the facts. On March 17, 2025, law enforcement in Minnesota conducted a sting operation targeting individuals trying to engage in illegal activities with minors online. Among the arrests, Justin Eichorn. Authorities say Eichorn believed he was talking to a 17-year-old online and allegedly attempted to meet up with them for sexual purposes. Instead, he was met with officers who had been tracking his messages. The details of the arrest report are damning. Law enforcement say the messages were explicit, deliberate, and left no room for misunderstanding about the nature of his intentions. But now, instead of facing the music, Eichorn is pulling a page straight from the playbook of every disgraced official who doesn't want to be held accountable, claiming the whole thing is politically motivated. Eichorn's defense. So, what exactly is Justin Eichorn saying? His legal team is arguing that he is being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Why? Because he was a former state senator, and that somehow makes him a target. They claim that the media attention, the scrutiny, the aggressive prosecution, none of it is about justice. According to them, it's all about embarrassing a former Republican official. Let that sink in for a second. A man who's accused of trying to meet a child for sex is saying that the problem isn't his behavior, it's that he's being treated unfairly. That makes absolutely no sense. This is not just a legal strategy, it's a PR move, a desperate attempt to change the subject from what he did to who he is. And it's exactly the kind of gaslighting that makes the public lose faith in both politics and the justice system. So, political privilege versus accountability. Let's talk about what's going on here. This isn't about someone who's being treated too harshly, it's about someone trying to escape accountability by wrapping themselves in a political identity. Think about this. If a regular guy with no political connection had been caught in a sting operation trying to solicit a child, would he be allowed to argue that he's being prosecuted for his profession? Of course not. He'd be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and he should be. So why is Justin Eichorn get special treatment? Just because he served in the Minnesota State Senate? This is not a partisan issue. This is not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about right and wrong. It's about the safety of children and the integrity of our legal system. When people in power try to manipulate the system to protect themselves, they send a dangerous message that if you're politically connected, you can escape consequences. That is something that cannot stand. The public reaction, unsurprisingly, the public reaction to Eichorn's defense strategy has been fierce. On social media, many Minnesotans and people across the country are outraged by the idea that he's claiming victimhood. They're saying what we're all thinking. If you don't want to be prosecuted for soliciting a minor, don't try to solicit a minor. Some have pointed out the irony that Eichorn himself supported tough-on-crime legislation when he was in office. He was all for law and order until it applied to him. There's also a growing call for Eichorn to be held up as an example not protected because of his former job, but prosecuted precisely because no one should be above the law. Now, let's talk about the legal side of this. Eichorn's lawyers are filing motions to dismiss the case, arguing selective prosecution. To win that kind of motion, they would have to prove that the government singled him out specifically because of his status as a former official, and that others committing the same crimes were not prosecuted. That's an extremely high bar. Courts rarely grant those kind of motions unless there's overwhelming evidence of bias, which Eichorn hasn't provided. Meanwhile, prosecutors are standing firm. They say the case is built on solid evidence, chat logs, planned meeting arrangements, digital traces, and that Eichorn was treated no differently than any other subject in the sting operation. The case is moving forward, and if the judge denies the motion to dismiss, we may be headed towards a public trial, where the full details could come out. So here we are. A former lawmaker is accused of something horrifying. Instead of owning up or defending himself on the facts, he's accusing the justice system of political bias. But the real question isn't about politics. It's about justice. Do we let powerful people escape consequences because they once held an office? Or do we stand firm and say that no one is above the law, especially when it comes to protection of children? We'll be following this story as it develops, and if Eichorn thinks public sympathy is on his side, he might want to check again, because the people see through this, and the people want justice. If you agree, drop a comment below. Do you think Eichorn should face trial? Do you buy his defense? Let me know what you think. And if you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. We'll keep holding power to account, no matter who it is.